Recording in progress.
Hare Krishna, welcome everyone to our Bhakti Vaibhav class. We'll begin with our prayers. Om Jnanatimidandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Padamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajata Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna, so welcome everyone. We are continuing our discussion from Srimad Bhagvatam, Canto 3. We are on chapter 25th, the glories of 28th, the Kapila's instructions on the execution of devotional service. So in this chapter, Kapila Dev is describing the process of Ashtanga Yoga, and in that we heard last time that Kapila Dev describes that there are various limbs of Ashtanga Yoga, and he describes yam, niyam, asana, pranayam, all that in detail. And then when it comes to dharana, he first of all describes the general form of the difference between dhyan is dharana means take darshan of the Lord as a whole, and dhyan means meditate on each and every limb of the Lord. So 13 to 18, we saw the description of the form of the Lord as a whole, as a dharana, starting from all the beautiful face and the eyes and Shankha Chakra Gada Padma, and the Lord is wearing beautiful dhoti, has Srivatsa, and so many things we heard. And then the last, I think, 19th to 33rd, we had completed till 18th or 19th, seems. So 19th verse says, thus, always merged in devotional service, the yogi visualizes the Lord standing, moving, lying down, or sitting within him. For the pastimes of the Lord are very beautiful and attractive. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes, incidentally, this verse can be interpreted as a description of the pastimes for meditation of Raganuga Bhaktas also. So that's the beauty of all the descriptions of Bhagavatam. It is not just for people who are Ashtanga yogis. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, this can be interpreted as a description of the pastimes for meditation of the Raganuga Bhakta. So all devotees, all of us, we have to also meditate on this form of the Lord. As he is lying down, as he is moving, as he is sitting, always absorb whatever the Lord is doing. So the devotee, whatever he is doing, he should be absorbed, and he should be absorbed in whatever the Lord is doing. Just like the gopis, they were always absorbed, whatever they were doing. Yadohane vahanane mathanopalepa prenkheng khanar baruditokshanamajanado gayanti chainamanurakta dhiyo ashwapantyo dhanya brajastriyo rukramachittayana. Dhanya brajastriyo, the gopis, they are fortunate. Dhanya brajastriyo, why? Whatever they were doing, dohane, milking cows, avahanane, threshing grains, mathane, churning butter, upalepa, smearing cow dung on the wall, pranking khana, swinging on the children on the swings or themselves swinging, Arbharuditokshana, taking care of the crying children, Marjanado, sweeping the homes, whatever they were doing, they were absorbed in Krishna. So gopis, they were always absorbed in Krishna. That is the process of devotional service. Whatever they are doing. Raga Nuga means following the Ragatmika Bhaktas. So Ragatmika Bhaktas means the Brajvasis. So whatever the Brajvasis are doing, absorbed in that pastime. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur continues. One should meditate on the Lord situated in Vaikuntha or at base of a desire tree in Vrindavan. वृंदावने कल्पद्रुमे सुवर्ण सदन ताते बशियाचेन Madan Mohan, as Kaviraj Goswami describes. So under the Kalpa Vriksha in Vrindavan, Supreme Lord Madan Mohan sits, or as he goes out of the Vaikuntha, or goes from the cow pens to the forest, absorbed in the pastimes of Vrindavan. Or he's sitting on the jewel throne, or on the peak of Vrindavan or Govardhan. One should meditate on the Lord, sleeping on the Shesha or in the cave on Govardhan. That is how our Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is. That's why he's called as Rasacharya. He can bring pure esoteric thing even in the Ashtanga Yoga also. How a devotee can be in Vrindavan, seeing, hearing, or reading all these wonderful descriptions of Ashtanga Yoga meditation. So we'll continue with the next verse. That is 20th verse. Okay, so Prabhupada writes something very important. The process of meditating on the form of the Lord within oneself and the process of chanting the glories and the pastimes of the Lord are the same. There is no difference. In one verse in Chaitanya, Kaviraj Goswami is describing the effect of the flute of Krishna. कानेर भीतर वासा करे अपने तहाँ सदा स्फुरे अन्य शब्द न दे प्रवेशिते आन कथा न सुने कानन बोलिते बोलायान यही कृष्णेर वंशीर चरिते. So this verse says, Kaner Bhitar Vasa Kare, when the flute sound of Krishna enters the ears of the gopis, it resides there and manifests newer and newer ecstasies. Apane taha sada spure, anya shabda na de praveshite, doesn't allow other sounds to enter. Gopis can't hear anything, can't speak anything else. This is the beauty of Krishna's flute sound. So this looks very esoteric description. But Srila Prabhupada brings it down to our level. He says in the purport, Hare Krishna mantra represents the flute sound of Krishna. Very practical. What we can relate to when we hear such things. So the holy names are the same. Anya Shabda Nadya Praveshita. It should be like that. But our problem is opposite. Anya Shabda, everything Praveshita hota hai. Apart from holy names. So the process of meditating on the Lord is same. Then he says, the only difference is that hearing and fixing the mind on the pastimes of the Lord is easier than visualizing the form within one's heart. Because as soon as one begins to think of the Lord, the mind becomes disturbed. And due to so much agitation, the process of seeing the Lord is interrupted. Whenever there is a sound vibrated praising the transcendental pastimes of the Lord, one is forced to hear. So that's how Srila Prabhupada describes how the chanting of the names of the Lord is the easiest way to practice bhakti in this age of Kali Yuga. Otherwise, it is so very difficult. Then the next verse continues. तस्मिल्लब्धपदं चित्तम् सर्वावयवसंस्थितं विलक्ष्यैकत्र संयुज्य अङ्गे भगवतो मुनिः.
In fixing his mind on the attendant form of the Lord, the yogi should not take collective view of all his limbs. but should fix the mind on each individual limb of the Lord.
So that is now the starting of the description of the dhyana. How a devotee should, how a yogi should meditate on each and every limb of the Lord, not as a whole. हम लोग जल्दी से दर्शन करके निकल जाते हैं ना कभी कभी, फटाफट दर्शन लेना, चलो फटाफट क्विक दर्शन लेके निकलेंगे. But of course, time, place, circumstance, sometimes we don't have so much time, but sometimes we should spend time taking darshan of the Lord आराम से, meditating on each and every limb of Radha Giridhari. Not that quick दर्शन करके निकलना है, आज तो एकदम फटाफट दर्शन भी हो गया, सब हो गया फटाफट. फटाफट नहीं होना चाहिए. So bhakti is not a quick thing. You have to be absorbed. Prabhupada writes, the word Muni is very significant. Muni means one who is very expert in mental speculation or in thinking, feeling, and willing. He is not mentioned here as a devotee. Those who try to meditate on the Lord as Munis or are called Munis or less intelligent. Whereas, यहाँ पे Prabhupada एक special another angle he is giving. We are not here just to meditate on the form of the Lord. We have to serve the Lord also. अच्छा दर्शन किया, हरि बोल, अरे दर्शन के बाद क्या किया? नहीं, दर्शन के बाद हो गया ना. दर्शन के बाद सेवा. That is more important. That is bhakti yogi. The thought process described below is for the education of the Muni. In order to convince the yogi that absolute truth is never impersonal, the following verses prescribe observing the Lord in his personal form, limb by limb. So from 21st to 33rd, these are beautiful verses describing the form of the Lord as a whole, as a limb by limb. We'll recite these verses. Sanchintayet bhagavatas charanarvindam Vajrang kushadhvaja saroruhalanshanadyam Uttunga rakta vilasannaka chakravala Jyotsna virahat mahadridayandhakaram
Which are adorned with the marks of a thunderbolt, a goat, a banner, and a lotus. The splendor of their beautiful ruby nails resembles the orbit of the moon and dispels the thick gloom of one's heart.
Sanchintaye, they should concentrate upon Bhagavataha Charanarvindam unto the lotus feet of the Lord, which is marked with how many marks are there on the lotus feet of the Lord? Hmm? 9. So total there are 19. If you want to know the details, 10, 30, 25. 10th canto, 30th chapter, 25th verse. Purport, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur describes the detail in the VCT commentary, Chakravarti Thakur's commentary. हाँ, उसमें लेकिन पता नहीं चलता है ना कौन कौन क्या है. फोटो तो आ जाएगा लेकिन उसमें क्या क्या काउंट करना है, क्या है उसमें, वो नहीं पता चलता है. उसमें एक इधर भी है, एम्प्टी स्पेस, तो वो पता नहीं चलेगा. So we'll discuss today what all markings are there on the Lord's feet. So 4 are given here only. Vajra, Ankusha, Dhvaja and Saroruha. Saroruha means lotus. Lanchanadhyam, they are markings. And another special thing we have to meditate on is the nails of the Lord. The ruby nails of the Lord, from them a very wonderful effulgence comes, which we can't see. But that effulgence can destroy the ignorance and darkness which is there in the heart of a devotee. Uttunga Rakta Vilasan Nakachakravala, the lotus, the nails of the Lord, from them there is a Rakta Vilasan, reddish nails. There is a Jyotsna. Jyotsna means effulgence. That effulgence, what it does? Ahat Mahad Hridayandhakar. Ahat means it destroys. Mahad Hridayandhakar, not ordinary andhakar. The heart, the darkness of the heart is a very deep, dark, thick darkness. So dispels the thick gloom of one's heart. So the meditation of the Lord's lotus feet is described many places in Bhagavad. Many devotees, they have meditated on the lotus feet of the Lord. So much so that Lord thinks, मेरे इतना क्या है मेरे lotus feet में कि इतना गुणगान कर रहे हैं. So that's why he becomes Vatapatrashahi. Kararavinде Padarabindam Mukharabinde Viniveshayantam Vatasya Patrasya Puteshayanam Balam Mukundam Manasa Smarami. So that is how Lord is also astonished. ऐसा क्या है भाई इतना क्यों गुणगान कर रहे हैं? What is the nectar? पारिजाते अंजसा लब्धे सारंगो अन्या न सेवते तुदंग्री मूलमासाद्य साक्षात किम किम वृणीमहि. After getting parijat, honeybee does not have to go anywhere. Attaining the lotus feet of the Lord fulfills all the desires. So Srila Prabhupada writes, Mayavadis say that because one is unable to fix mind on the impersonal existence, one can imagine any form he likes. जो चाहिए उस पे करो ध्यान चलेगा. But no, it is not the case. Imagination, Prabhupada writes, imagination is always imagination and results only in further imagination. क्या मिलने वाला? Whatever you imagine, because it is not right, you end up only imagining things. You will not get the right thing. So the concrete description of the eternal form of the Lord is described here. So, Chakravarti Thakur writes, one should meditate on the elephant goad below the little toe of right foot. कहाँ पे है elephant goad? Elephant goad means ankush. Little toe of the right foot. This foot is seen by the devotees. Tribhanga में वही ऊपर रहता है ना? In fact, we heard in the third canto when Brahmaji was given darshan of the Lord. So the Lord showed him his Tribhanga Rupa also, right? We have read that somewhere.
Yes.
You know, he showed his foot, one was only half seen, other was fully placed on the ground. So that form was the threefold bending from. So Krishna, he showed him his Tribhanga Rupa also. So this foot is seen by the devotees as Krishna stands in the pose with three bends beneath a desire tree. Below the elephant goad is a thunderbolt. Below the next toe is a lotus, and below the lotus is a flag. Below the big toe is a barley corn, a chakra, and other items. That's how the foot is marked. So what is the significance of all these symbols? So there is a crescent moon also on the lotus feet of the Lord. So crescent moon represents the coolness from the burning miseries of this material world. So that's why when we keep the lotus feet of the Lord in our heart, then we will not get troubled by the miseries of this world. That is called as tapatrayon moolanam. कहाँ पे आता है? फर्स्ट श्लोक में आता है. ये सेकंड में आता है. धर्म प्रोजित कैटवत्र परमो निर्वत्सराणाम सदा विद्यम वास्तवमत्र वस्तु शिवदम तापत्रयम्. हमारा श्लोक याद करना तो रही गया. कोई बोल भी नहीं रहा है कि पूरी श्लोक याद करना. Okay. There is a water pot also on the lotus feet of the Lord. This indicates that living entities are thirsty since millions of lives, trying to find the various sources of pleasure, but nothing satisfies the mind of a living entity. त्वदंघ्रि मूलम आसाद्य साक्षात किम किम ऋणिमहि। बस यहाँ मिलेगा, यहाँ पे आएंगे that water, the source of water can quench the heart. Okay, anyways, I'll not go into the detail of all the markings, it will be too much. So we'll go to the next verse.
Where will get all the thing? Like in the chapter.
No, this is one lecture Shubhilas had given once, so I had taken the notes. So bolu kya main? It is there in this purport. Chakravarti Thakur writes a little bit about some of the points. Some of
For every symbol, they have given the significance to it.
here.
Not in this, but if you Google Lord's latest.
Yeah, you will find that. We will find. See, I have heard from the lecture, but you will find somewhere.
Is it authentic? I don't know, but they have given some.
Few things Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes in this purports. We'll see that in the next purport, next shlok ke commentary mein Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes some more things. We'll see that. We'll recite the next verse. So the first 21st verse describes the beauty of the Lord's lotus feet. 22nd verse describes the power of the Lord's lotus feet. So Lord's lotus feet is very beautiful, marked with so many wonderful symbols. And what can the Lord's lotus feet do? Yashaucha nisrita sarit pravarodakena tirthena murdnyadikritena shiva shivo bhu Aturmanah shamala shailana srishna vajram Jai Ram Bhagavata Sharanarvindam
The blessed Lord Shiva becomes all the more blessed by hearing only on his head the holy ordinary animals which have its source in the water that wash the Lord's lotus feet. The Lord's feet act like a thunderbolts, hurled to shatter the mountain of sin stored in the mind of the meditating devotee. One should therefore meditate on the lotus feet of the Lord for a long time.
Yashaucha, the water which has washed the feet of the Lord. Pravara udakena, Sarit Pravara. What is the water which has washed the feet of the Lord?
Ganges.
That is Ganga. So Ganges, Shiva Shivo Abhut. Lord Shiva, who is all auspicious, becomes more auspicious. How? Tirthena Murdhni Adhikritena, by keeping the tirtha on his head. And what is the power of this feat? Dhyatu. Just by meditating, what happens? Shamala, Manah Shamala Shaila. We don't have small mounds of anarthas inside us. Mountains of anarthas. Mountains of sins we have stored. We have created mountains of sins in millions of lives. And mountain cannot be destroyed by ordinary small Diwali ka pataka. उसके लिए क्या लगता है? Thunderbolt लगता है. You need a Vajra. Only Vajra can destroy that mountain. So this lotus feet is like Nisrishta Vajra. It is like the thunderbolt. It can destroy. Therefore, what we should do? Dhyaye Chiram. Don't go to the lotus phase immediately. Dhyaye Chiram. Meditate on the lotus feet for a long, long time. Because the lotus feet is the only treasure of devotees. Kunti Maharani prays, Neyam Shobhishyate Tatra Yathedanim Gadadhara Tvatpadairankita Bhati Swalakshana Vilakshatai. Oh Lord, when you leave, it will be no longer available for us. Your lotus feet will not be able to see. You have marked our kingdom with your footprints. That's why it is fortunate. So our fortune of a devotee is the lotus feet of the Lord. That's why who got the maximum association of the lotus feet of the Lord?
Lakshmi Devi.
When he appeared in this world, Bhumi Devi. So one who gets the maximum association suffers the most. So that's why सबसे ज्यादा उधर ही चले ही है ना, हमेशा उधर है साथ में. कावासहेत विरहं पुरुषोत्तमस्य प्रेमावलोकरुचिरस्मितवल्गुजल्पै स्थैर्यं समानमहरन् मधुमानिनीनां रोमोत्सवं मम यदङ्घ्रिविटङ्किताय. This verse comes in the first canto. वो बुल एंड द अर्थ का कन्वर्सेशन हो रहा है ना, उसमें वो बोलती हैं, अरे हाउ कैन आई बियर सेपरेशन फ्रॉम लॉर्ड. He would control the temperamental queens like Satyabhama by his smiles and loving glances. So now he has left. He would constantly walk on my surface, and all the trees are like Romotsavam. The trees are the hairs of Mother Earth. They are standing on end because Lord was walking on them, on the surface of Bhumi Devi. So that's how the devotees of the Lord, they meditate on the lotus feet of the Lord for a long time. So we should pray to the lotus feet of the Lord for protection and for protecting us from any further fall down. In the first canto also, one beautiful glory of Ganga Devi was described. Yavai Lasat Shri Tulasi Vimishra, this verse also had come. So basically the lotus feet of the Lord, it is adored by Lord Shiva. A beautiful bhajan is there, no? Jepad lagiya Rama tapasya Korea, Jepad lagiya Shivatva Shivatva, Jepad lagiya Shiva Shivatva Lobhila. Jepada Narada Muni Hridaye Dharila, Ekho na bujhino Prabhu, उसमें आता है Tomara Charana, उसमें आता है. So that's how the lotus feet of the Lord is desired by everyone in this world. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes some of the things in the purport. What is the significance of some of the points, some of the markings? So he says, after describing the sweetness of the Lord's feet, Kapila describes the power of his feet. Shiva becomes additionally auspicious. And then, why one should meditate? Because the Lord's feet is marked with thunderbolt. Thunderbolt can destroy the mountains of sins. Then why we should meditate? What is the significance of the elephant goad? Elephant goad is a very small object. It can control the huge elephant. So our mind is like a huge elephant. To control the huge elephant, the small ankush is sufficient. The ankush of the lotus feet of the Lord. So Chakravarti Thakur writes, the devotee meditates as well on the elephant goad to lead the elephant of his mind on the right path. Then he should meditate on the lotus on the Lord's foot to ornament the lake of his mind. The mind should be decorated with the ornament of the lotus feet. When the mind is fixed on the lotus feet of the Lord, that is the real ornament of a devotee. Then what is the significance of the flag? He meditates on the flag to give the highest kingdom to the mind. When one conquers the kingdom, then one puts the flag. So by meditating on the lotus foot of the feet of the Lord, we'll conquer the highest kingdom. Ajita jitopi. No, there is a verse. Jnane prayasamudapasya. उसमें आता है Ajita jitopi. The unconquerable Lord can be conquered. So we can conquer, we can get the highest kingdom. And then what is the significance of the barley corn? Barley corn represents the fame and fortune, prosperity. So in the life of a devotee, the lotus feet is the only fortune, only wealth. All the other wealth of this world doesn't last. One should meditate on the umbrella. What is the significance? Gives relief from the rains of the threefold miseries. Tapatrayon mulanam. One should meditate on chakra. What the chakra does? Sudarshan chakra ka kya hai value?
Most,
It protects. The Lord has four things. Shankha, Chakra, Gada, Padma. Shankha and Padma is to show benediction. Chakra and Gada is for protection. So Prabhupada writes, in this verse, the position of Lord Shiva is specifically mentioned. He is a servant of the Lord. Ekala Ishvara Krishna Arasabha Bhritya. And then Prabhupada writes, In Hari Bhakti Vilas, it is said that anyone who puts the Lord, including who puts the Lord and the Devtas, including Shiva and Brahma, on the same level is called as Pashandi. That is second offense. And then Prabhupada describes the same thing, how meditating on the feet of the Lord can destroy the mountains of anarthas. So therefore, one should meditate. Bhagavatas Charanarvindam. Again, Prabhupada, Charanarvindam बोला है ना, मतलब चरण है, मतलब form है. So Mayavadi conception is wrong. That's what Prabhupada writes, that form. Lord doesn't have form. Okay, so now after we meditate on the lotus feet, we go up on the, yes, sir.
What will be the meditation one supposed to do?
We have to think all this. When we meditate on the lotus feet of the Lord, think all these wonderful glories of the Lord as we are meditating on as we are taking darshan. Oh, Lord's lotus feet can do this also, this also, this
All
also.
those 19 symbols and their
We can meditate on their, each and every, the significance of each and every markings. That is the fortune. That's why Akrurji, when he was sent by Kamsa and he saw the footprints, he didn't think, I'm a king, I'm a minister, how can I roll in the dust? हित्वा दंभम धियम भियम शुचम, क्या वो बहुत अच्छा श्लोक है वो. उसमें बोलते हैं दर्शनाद्यो हरेर लिंग, बोलते हैं टुडे आई गेट दर्शन ऑफ द लॉर्ड. I'll just find that words, beautiful words, Akrur. By the way, Akrur is the epitome of Acharya of Vandanam. His prayers are most wonderful. Wow. This is 10:38:27, beautiful prayer Akrurji is making here. देहभृतां यानर्थो हित्वा दम्भं भियं शुचं संदेशाद्यो हरेर्लिंग दर्शनश्रवणादिभिः. The very goal of life for all the conditioned embodied beings is this ecstasy which Akrura experienced. What ecstasy experienced? He started rolling on the ground. His eyes were full of tears. He exclaimed, "Oh, this is a dust from my master's feet." He was not thinking maybe Kamsa's assistants may be watching me. Spy भेजा होगा मेरे पीछे. You know, forget everything. Hitva dambham bhiyam shucham. Give up all pride, fear, lamentation. क्या होगा कोई बात नहीं. Whatever happens. Today I have, by some inconceivable fortune, today I'll get darshan of the Lord. Maevam mamadhamasyapi syatevachit darshana riyamana kalanadya kvachittarati kaschana. Just like by some inconceivable providence, two straws in a river, they come together. And now that's in the same ways, I will get the darshan of the Lord today, although I am not qualified. So that's how we have to meditate on all these wonderful pastimes as we are taking darshan of the Lord's lotus. We can meditate. Keep on meditating. भगवान के चरण कमल कहाँ पे उनका वर्णन हुआ है, क्या हुआ है.
Actually, you see, the devotees take so much effort to dress up the deities. I think we should spend some time to at least take darshan. We spend so much time to.
Time लगता है. Think 1.5, 2 hours. 5 o'clock darshan closes here.
That's true.
And darshan opens at 7:15. तो उसके पहले भोगा होगा लगने के लिए 15-20 मिनट पहले लगता होगा. So around 2 hours. 2 hours devotees are spending dressing. So we should also spend some time. को तो याद नहीं आज कौन सा ड्रेस था. सोचना पड़ेगा. So meditate. कौन सा ज्वेलरी लगाया है.
We have some color codes for this day, this color.
In our temple, not day wise, they have made a schedule of all the dresses for the monthly dress. They already make in the beginning of every month this dress. They number the dresses and then they put number wise.
the ISKCON, there is all temples supposed to.
Sorry?
In the overall ISKCON, there is some dress guidelines.
They have, yes, yes.
Follow.
एकादशी में कहाँ कौन सा कलर, अमावस्या में वैसा कुछ तो है. I am not sure.
Days are also there.
Okay.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Okay. I am not aware of so much.
No, but yeah, that sequence he kept, but the color sometimes Ekadashi
Little
they
bit
don't
it can
follow.
change.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But generally it is there.
Yeah, it is there. I have heard, but our temple mein they make the monthly schedule. I don't know what is the basis of that. The DD department makes, so I am not so much aware of the details.
Actually, if you think we should really spend some time to take the show.
We should spend time.
That thing that it is how much efforts and.
Okay. In Kalia Leela, Nag Patnis are thinking, "Hey, इसने ऐसा क्या किया है?" Big sages are wondering and they are doing tapasya for millions of lives to get the dust of the feet and इसको भर के मिल रहा है. ऐसा क्या कर दिया इन्होंने भाई हमारे पति ने? वो क्या बहुत अच्छा श्लोक बोलते हैं वो. I don't know what fortune. कस्यानुभावोऽस्य न देव विद्महे तवाङ्घ्रिरेणुं स्पर्शाधिकार यद्वाञ्छया श्रीललनाचरत्तपो विहाय कामान् शुचिरं धृतव्रताः. कस्यानुभावोऽस्य यानी कैसे मिल गया इसको भाई? How he received such favor from you, O my Lord? Even Lakshmi Devi is not getting. Yadvanchaya Shri Lalanacharattapo. Are Lakshmi Devi is doing tapasya to get the dust of your feet. And giving up all her prestige and इनको तो ऐसा भर के मिल रहा है. क्या तपस्या किया इन्होंने? So the Lord's feet are glorified. They are like the boat by which we can cross the material existence. Samashita ye padapallava plavam. कितने सारे मतलब unlimited verses are there, you know. तो मतलब meditate करना है तो उसके लिए कोई अंत ही नहीं है. Okay, anyways, we'll not spend much time meditating. We'll go to the calf of the Lord. जानोद्वयं जलजलोचनया जनन्या लक्ष्म्याखिलस्य सुरवन्दितया विधातुः
लक्ष्माखिलशरवन्दितया विधातु
करपल्लवरोचिषाया संलालितं हृदि विभोरभवस्य पुरयात्.
The yogi should fix in his heart the activities of Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, who is worshipped by all demigods and is the mother of Supreme Person, Brahma. She can always be found massaging the legs and thighs of the Transcendental Lord very carefully, serving him in this way. Hare Krishna.
So one should meditate on the Lord lying down. Chakravarti Thakur writes, it has already been said that one should meditate on the Lord lying down in verse 19, as Lord is lying down. Stam vrajantam. So now, as the Lord is lying down on the bed of Ananta, what should be the meditation? One should fix the mind. One should fix in the mind the Lord's legs from the foot to the knee. That means the calf. And his leg is made beautiful by the yellow and the pink color of the lotus hands. Yellow and pink color of the lotus hands of Mother Lakshmi. Skillful at massage, who is the mother of Brahmaji. Her eyes are mentioned because without disturbance she can relish the beauty of the Lord. So, abhavasya kuryat. So that is the beauty of the Lord's calf a devotee should meditate on. Abhavasya kuryat means this lotus feet of the Lord, and the Lord extinguishes all the material existence. Abhavasya kuryat. So Lakshmi Devi, she is called as Chanchala. Never stays at one place, but we always find Lakshmi at one place. That is at the lotus feet of the Lord. That is the glory of Mother Lakshmi. She's sthira there. Other places she's chanchal, but she's sthira at one place. So that is the fortune Lakshmi Devi has. So the world is running after Lakshmi and Lakshmi is after Lord. So Srila Prabhupada writes, Lakshmi is worshipped by all the devatas. Human beings are also eager to receive the favor of Lakshmi, but Lakshmi is engaged in serving the Lord. Therefore, and a lotus flower grows from the abdomen of the Lord. From there, Brahmaji takes birth. So then Prabhupada writes, the Lord does not need the help of ordinary wife to give birth. He is transcendental. Since transcendental behavior is different from mundane behavior, it should not be taken that the Lord receives service from his wife, just as the Devtas or human being might receive service from his wife. It is advised here that the yogi always keep this picture in his heart, and then he should go up and meditate on the thighs of the Lord. He should meditate on the two thighs of the Lord as the Lord mounts Garuda, and the thighs of the Lord are on the shoulders of Garuda. As he is going to give blessings to Prithu, to Dhruva, to these two personalities are mentioned. We'll recite this verse. Uru Suparna Bhujayo Radhishobhamana Ojo Nidhiyatasika Kusumavabhaso Vyalam Bipita Varvasasi Vartamana Kanchi Kalapa Parirambini Tamba Bimbam.
Next, the yogi should fix his mind in meditation of the personality of God's thighs, the storehouse of all energy. The Lord's thighs are lithish blue, like the luster of the lynch flower, and appears more graceful when the Lord is carried on the shoulder of Garuda. Also, the yogi should contemplate his rounded lips, which are encircled by a guard that rests on the exquisite yellow silk cloth that extends down to his ankles.
Uru means the thighs. Suparna Bhujayo. Who is Suparna Bhuja? The golden winged one. That is Garuda. So we should meditate on the Lord's thighs, which are on the shoulders of Garudaji. Bhujayor Adhishobhamana. They are very nicely, gracefully there. And this thighs are Ojo Nidhi. It is storehouse of all energy. And the color of the thighs are given whitish blue. That is the color of the linseed flower. And then the thigh is covered with yellow silken cloth extending up to the ankles. So Prabhupada writes, since this yogi has so many transcendental objectives on which to meditate on, there is no reason for his meditating on something imaginary. Why we should meditate on imaginary form if so many exact details are given? So as is the practice of so-called yogis. So Prabhupada is again and again making a point that Lord is a person. There is no need to meditate on the impersonal form of the Lord. And this is the meditation which a devotee should make to understand how Lord is so compassionate. He is just mounting Garuda, and coming whenever the devotee calls him. When Gajendra was calling, Sridhar Swami says that Lord tells Garuda, please fly faster. Garuda anyways flies very fast. So he says, fly faster, faster, faster. So when somebody does something beyond his capacity, what happens?
Yes.
He faints. So Garudaji faints. Garudopi mandagati iti matva sahasa atirya. Sridhar Swami says this. Lord is thinking, "Arey, ye tej kyun nahi ud raha hai? Aur tej udo, aur tej udo." So he faints. So Lord puts Garuda on his shoulder and he is running to save Gajendra. So that's how the Lord never leaves his devotees. He comes immediately. Say Bhakta Dhanya Jena Chade Prabhu Charan. Say Prabhu Dhanya Jena Chade Nijajan. The Lord is so great, he never leaves the devotee, and devotee is fortunate who never leaves the Lord. Now, after meditating on the thighs of the Lord, should go up, meditate on the navel and the chest nipples. नाभिरदं भुवनकोशगुहोदरस्थम् यत्रात्मयो निधिशनाखिललोकपद्मम् व्यूढं हरिण्मणिवृषस्तनयोरमुष्य ध्यायेद्वयं विशदहारमयूखगौरम्
The yogi should then meditate on his moon-like navel in the center of his abdomen. From his navel, which is the foundation of the entire universe, sprang the lotus stem containing all the different planetary systems. The lotus is the residence of Brahma, the first created being. In the same way, the yogi should concentrate his mind on the Lord's nipples, which resemble a pair of most exquisite emeralds, and which appear whitish because the rays of milk white pearl necklaces adorning his chest.
So the Nabhi, the lotus navel of the Lord, is the place from where Brahmaji takes birth. Angani yasya sakalendriya. He doesn't need any other help to give birth. How many parts of the Krishna's body are compared with lotus? 8. Which all?
His eyes,
Hmm?
his feet,
Hmm?
It's
Face. 5 हो गए और
his
eyelids नहीं. Eyes हो गया ना वो?
नेवल put
नेवल नेवल
Mouth face में आ गया mouth. हाँ. 6 हो गया और नेत्र नाभि वदन कर युग चरण यही अष्ट पद्म कृष्ण अंगे. 8 है. नेत्र 2 eyes, नाभि 3 हो गया. वदन face, कर युग 2 hands and 2 feet. And there is a fragrance which comes from the body of the Lord. वो कौन सा है?
musk melons.
कर्पूर लिप्त कमल तार ऐछे परिमल सही अंग अष्ट पद्म अंगे सही गंध अष्ट पद्म अंगे. कर्पूर लिप्त kamal to mix the fragrance of lotus with camphor is a fragrance which comes from the body of the Lord. So Srila Prabhupada writes, Brahma holds the post of the creator of all the planetary systems, and but his engineering energy is generated from the abdomen of the Lord. Any creative function in the universe always has a direct connecting link with the Lord. And the necklace of pearls which decorates the upper portion of the Lord's body is also spiritual. So one should meditate on the navel, then one should meditate on the nipples of the Lord. And the color of the nipples is also given exquisite emeralds. And then Lord wears a pearl necklace also. Vishadahara Mayukha Garam, meditate on that also. So that is the meditation a devotee does. Chakravarti Thakur writes, one should meditate on the 2 nipples of the Lord, or which have righteousness and the color of emeralds. The right breast represents dharma. So that is some additional information Chakravarti Thakur gives. The right breast represents dharma. Then, after meditating on the nipples, one should meditate on the chest of the Lord. Vakshodivasham rishabhasya mahavibhuteh. Pumsa mano nayana nirvritiragdhanam. Kantham cha kaustubmane radibhushanartham. Puryan manasya khilaloka namaskritasya.
The yogi should then meditate on the chest of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the abode of Goddess Mahalakshmi. The Lord's chest is the source of all transcendental pleasure for the mind and full satisfaction for the eyes. The yogi should then imprint on his mind the neck of the personality of Godhead, who is adored by the entire universe. The neck of Lord serves to enhance the beauty of Kaustubha gem, which hangs on his chest.
Vaksho Adhivasam, on the Vakshasthala, who is always there? Mahavibhuti, the goddess of fortune, she is always there on the chest of the Lord. And one of the very important qualities of the chest is described Mano Nayana Nirvriti. The chest can satisfy the hankering of the eyes and the mind. So the eyes of living entities and the mind of living entities are hankering to see all that is beautiful in this world. But none of the things of the world can give satisfaction to the eyes and the mind. But there is only one thing which can give satisfaction. That is the chest of the Lord. It can give complete satisfaction to the eyes and to the mind. Nothing else can satisfy the mind and the heart and the eyes. Interesting thing is, devotees satisfied only by Krishna's form, name, form, pastimes, and they are never satisfied with Krishna's name, form, pastimes. They want more and more and more. That is the wonderful feature of the Lord. The devotee wants to hear more and more about the Lord's name, form, pastimes. Rupam Bhagavato Yattat Manahkantam Shuchapam Manahkanta. The form of the Lord is the friend of the mind. Nothing else can satisfy the mind so wonderfully as the Lord's form does. Kaviraj Goswami says, the Lord's form is the quintessence of all that is beautiful. Saita madhurya saranya siddhi nahita tiho madhuryadi gunakhani. He is the mind of all the immutable, immutable mind of all the wonderful qualities. Immutable mind of all the wonderful qualities. माधुर्यादि गुण खनी माधुर क्या मधुरता की गुण की खान है वो the form of the Lord. That is the beauty of the Lord's form. Okay, Srila Prabhupada writes, the Upanishads describe the various energies of the Lord are working to create, destroy, and maintain. These inconceivable varieties of energy are stored in the bosom of the Lord. As people say, God is all powerful. That prowess is represented by Mahalakshmi. And then Prabhupada writes about the Kaustubh gem, how a yogi meditate on the Kaustubh gem which is there on the neck of the Lord, hanging till the chest. Last few lines Prabhupada writes, a less advanced person, however, has to go to temple. And as long as he does not go to temple, he is not able to see the Lord. Either by hearing, seeing, or meditating, the objective is the form of the Lord. No question of voidness. So again and again, Prabhupada is telling that Lord's form is a personal form. Okay, next verse. He continues. Now he goes to the arms of the Lord. Bahum Shamandar Gire Parivartanena Nirnikta Bahu Valayana Dhilokapalan Sanchintayet Dashashataram Sahya Teja Shankam Chatatkara Saroruharaj Hamsam.
The yogis who further meditate upon the Lord's forearms, which are the sources of all the powers of the demigods who control the various functions of the material nature. Then the yogis should concentrate on the polished ornaments which were burnished by the Mount Mandara as it is all. We should also duly contemplate the Lord's discuss the Sudarshan Chakra, which contains 1,000 spokes and dazzling luster, as well as the conch, which looks like a swan in his lotus-like palm.
So the arms of the Lord, they are like mandar. They are very powerful. And what happens is when so this description of Mandar Gire Parivartan ये किधर से आया? Anyone can guess? ये किधर से आया? The Mandar Gire Parivartan which were burnished by the Lord Mount Mandar as it revolved. ये किधर से आ गया? So Kurmadev, his bracelets were polished by Mandar mountain. So वो यहाँ पे दिया हुआ है. Meditate on the polished ornaments, the bracelet which is on the arm of the Lord, and as the Mandar mountain moved on the back of the Lord and the arms of the Lord, they were polished. So yogi should meditate on the arms of the Lord. And these arms are Adhilokapalan. They are the source of the power of the Devatas. And then one should meditate on the Sudarshan, Dashishata. Sudarshan has 1000 spokes, wheels, the spokes. And the conch looks like a lotus looks like a swan in the lotus-like palm of the Lord. The same description has come earlier also. Anyone remembers where it has come?
Dwarka.
When Krishna enters Dwarka, he blows the conch, there the same description was given. The conch was like the swan, and the palm of the Lord is like a reddish lotus. Okay. So Srila Prabhupada writes about that. Mandar Hill is mentioned here because when the ocean was churned by the demons on one side and demigods on the other, Mandar Hill was taken as churning rod. Lord in his tortoise incarnation became the pivot, and his ornaments were polished. And one should meditate on the Sudarshan, Dashashata. Vishwanath Chakravarti writes, one should also meditate on the four arms of the Lord in Vaikuntha holding the four weapons and also his garland and kastuba. One time somebody was, telling that Radhanath Swami Maharaj was in a meeting with some devotees and he was telling, if you do some mistake, Gopinath will, hit you with a club. So devotees said, but Maharaj, Gopinath doesn't have club with him. He will manifest, don't worry, he has. So club नहीं है तो दिख नहीं रहे तो क्या हुआ सब है उनके पास शंख चक्र. So devotee should meditate on the Dashashata. So this symbolizes this wheel. It also represents the wheel of time. Dashashata. And Shata means the unlimited numbers of seconds, which is there in a year. And this Sudarshan Chakra, this time factor destroys the life. With every passing of a second, the time destroys the life. And no one can defend from this, no one can protect oneself from this time factor. But there's only one thing which can protect. Ayurharti vai pumsam uddyamastan nasot tasyarte yashanonito uttam shlokavartaya. When we meditate on the form of the Lord, absorb in the pastimes of the Lord, we can transcend. Although no one can go beyond this time factor, but a devotee transcends the effects of the time. So therefore one should meditate on Sudarshan. As they are meditating, they should think like this. One should not waste time. For devotee, the time is very important. And another meaning of Sudarshan is Sudarshan, that is purified vision. Purified vision. When we have Sudarshan, the scriptures, they are Sudarshan. They purify our vision. They show us the world as it is. That's why it is said, Shastra Chakshu. See the world through the eyes of scriptures. That is Sudarshan. That is actual Sudarshan. And they remove the darkness of the doubt and ignorance which is there in the mind. Then one should meditate on the club which is there in the hand of the Lord. What is the name of the Lord's club? कौमोदकीं भगवतो दयितां स्मरेत दिग्धामरातिभटशोणितकरदमेण मालां मधुव्रतवरोथ गिरोपकुष्ठम् चैत्यस्य तत्त्वममलं मणिमस्य कण्ठे
The yogi should meditate upon this club, which is named Kaumodaki, and it is very dear to him. This club smashes the demons who are always in his power and is smeared with their blood. One should also concentrate on the nice garland on the neck of the Lord, which is always surrounded by bumblebees with their nice buzzing sound, and one should meditate upon the pearl necklace, the Lord's neck, which is considered to represent the pure living entities who are always engaged in his service.
Yeah,
The necklace.
yes, that is wonderful. Chaitasya tattvam manimasya kanthe. The pearl necklace is considered to represent the pure living entities. The pure devotees. They are the pearl necklace around the neck of the Lord. So one should meditate on the club, which is always marked with the blood of the demons. So that's why Yamraj, he tells the Yamduta, beta devotees के पास मत जाना कभी. आज बच गए हो, next time पिटाई हो जाएगी. These devotees are very powerful. Don't think they are innocent. They are simple. They are worshipped by great sages and rishis. Te deva siddha parigita pavitra gatha. Ye sadhavo samadrisho bhagavat prapanna. तानोपसीदत हरे गदयाभिगुप्ता. उनके पास भी मत जाना. Why? Gadayabhigupta, Lord is always there with them, with Gada in his hand. And no, but we are not able to control them. Tesham vayam nacha vaya prabhavam dande. Not Brahma, not Shiva, not me. Nobody can do anything to them. So please be careful. So Lord is always there. Parikshit Maharaj also saw Lord in the womb of his mother. Paribhravantam ulka bham. He was whirling his gada like a ulka bham. So Lord is always there. Chakravarti Thakur writes, though the word Chaitya everywhere means the Paramatma, in this case it means the Jiva. Chaityasya tattva amalam. So the Kaustubh is the tattva of Jiva Shakti. Kaustubh is the Jiva Shakti. That is what is there on the neck of the Lord.
What does this sentence mean? Possible is a Jiva Shakti.
It represents all the Jivas, the living entities, the pure living entities, pure devotees. They are always around the neck. That is the Kaustubha. So one should meditate on the Kaumudaki. Then one should meditate on the Mala. Kaun si Mala? Vaijayanti Mala. Five types of forest flowers are there. And around the necklace of the Lord, there are always, who are there? Bumblebees. Anyone can connect this to any other place?
With the description of Vaibhav.
हाँ, क्या बोलते हैं वहाँ पे?
Because the bumblebees, though they are making a hum, other very cuckoos, everything they keep quiet because they want to hear it's the glories of the Lord, thinking that they are singing.
यहाँ से आ रहे हैं, यहाँ से वहाँ पे. They are coming from the garland of the Lord. They are always on the garland of the Lord. So that's why they are thinking, he's coming from the garland of the Lord. So therefore we should hear whatever he is speaking. Although the bumblebee, what sound it makes? Just a buzzing sound. पारावतान्यमृतसारस चक्रवाक दत्युः हंस शुकतित्तिरिबर्हिणाम्य भृङ्गादिपे कोलाहलं विरमते चिरमात्रमुच्चै भृङ्गादिपे हरिकथा इव गायमाने. इव मतलब गा नहीं रहे, इव एज इफ ही सिंगिंग. सो यहाँ से आ रहे हैं उधर, इसके लिए वो उनको इतना मान मिल रहा है. So then after this, one should go up to the face. इतना सब सोचने के बाद फेस पे जाना है. कितना टाइम लगेगा फेस तक पहुंचने में? And the Lord's face has manifested just to show mercy to his devotees. Bhrityanukampita dhyeha grihita murteha sanchintayet bhagavato vadanarvindam yadvisfuran makarakundalavagitena vidyotitamalakapolamudharanasam.
The yogi should then meditate on the lotus-like countenance of the Lord, who presents his different forms in this world out of compassion for the anxious devotees. His nose is prominent and his crystal clear cheeks are illuminated by the oscillation of his glittering alligator shaped earrings.
So in the previous purport, Prabhupada writes about Chaityasya Tattvam Amalam. He says there are two kinds of living entities. One is called as Arati. Arati means one who is averse to the pastimes of the Lord, and others are the devotees. So after a few lines, he writes, there are two classes of living entities who act in two different ways. The Lord keeps on his neck those entities who are pure, as one protects the jewels and the pearls on the bosom and neck of one's body. Those entities in pure Krishna consciousness are symbolized by the pearls on his neck. That is Chaityasya Tattvam Amalam. So, in that Ajamil pastime, Ajamil Kand. In that section, after these Yamdutas, they go and Yamraj tells them, Baba, wapas mat jana, pitai ho jayegi. Another place after Hiranyakashipu is pacifying the mother of Hiranyaksha, his mother, और उनकी जो पत्नी थी हिरण्याक्ष की पत्नियां सब रो रही हैं. So he tells the story of a king, Suyagya. He was dead and all the king queens were crying. They were not allowing him to take his body. So Yamaraj आते हैं. He comes in the form of a young boy, a small child, and he gives the instructions of the soul. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur tells there, why Yamaraj came? Why Yamduta didn't come? Yamdut आते हैं ना? Yamaraj क्यों है इसमें? So he tells, whenever some very, very special or very pious soul leaves the body, out of respect, Yamraj himself comes. And why Yamdutas didn't come? Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives a esoteric reason here. He says, वो जो पत्नियां रो रही थी ना उसमें कुछ तो डिवोटी थी. तो यमदूतों को लगा पिटाई हो जाएगी वापस आएंगे तो. That's why they were fearful. They didn't go. So I just remember that. So now the lotus face of the Lord. Bhritya anukampit dhyeha. So the form of the Lord, the beautiful face of the Lord has manifested just to show compassion to his anxious devotees. Therefore, meditate on Vadanarvindam, on the lotus-like face of the Lord, and Udaranasam, meditate on the nose of the Lord, and on the cheeks of the Lord. Sometimes the Lord wears a shark-shaped earrings, Makara Kundal. So the reflection of the Makara Kundal is falling on the cheeks of the Lord. So devotee should meditate on that also. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes a beautiful commentary here. The Lord accepts forms in this world by being filled with compassion. O mercy, essence of my Swarupa Shakti, among my many forms, accept that form which you like as your living place. Thinking in this way, he accepts forms. So why Lord accepts various forms? Just to see and compassion to his. Yad dhyata urugaya vibhavayanti tattad vapu pranayase sadanugrahaya. Whatever form the devote to see the Lord appears in that form. And then he says something. Acha, he says, why the earrings are moving, by the way? Why the earrings are moving? He said, devotees are doing chamar, so that's why the earrings are moving. He writes that. His earrings sway because of the wind created by the charmer, waved by two servants, two sides. Or, दो तीन कारण बताते हैं, हिल क्यों रहा है वो? विद्योतितामल कपोलम उदार है, हिल क्यों रहा है? Why earrings are moving? He says 3 reasons. एक तो चामर कर रहे हैं, and दूसरा he is discussing with his associates, and some associate they give clever answers, so he is acknowledging, barabar. That's why his earrings are moving. Or he is observing the dance of some of the devotees, and therefore he is moving his head in rhythm. That's why his earrings are moving. He tilts his head to indicate the skillfulness as he relishes the dancing, singing, and instrumental music with various rhythms. And not only that, along with his earrings, his 2 eyes are also moving here and there. The 2 eyes dancing with the reflections of the moving earrings on the cheeks, which are like the mirrors. So the eyes become the dancing instructors. So ऐसा बहुत ही ज़्यादा esoteric बोल रहे हैं. So the eyes become the dancing instructors, and these 4 makaras. 4 makara कुंडल कौन से? 4 मकर कहाँ से हुए? 2 ही है ना?
In each one side.
हाँ, तो एक इधर 2 हुआ ना, और 2 रिफ्लेक्शन भी है ना. So this is 4. So the 2 eyes, he says, they are the dancing instructors, and these 4 earrings, they are the students. They are learning how to dance. ऐसा सब बता रहे हैं वो. अच्छा. Okay, now he focuses more on the face. यश्रीनिकेतमलिभि परिसेव्यमानम् बुद्ध्या स्वया कुटिलकुन्तलवृन्दजुष्टम् मीनाद्वयाश्रयमधीक्ष्य पदब्जनेत्रम् मनोमयनतन्द्रित उल्लसद्भ्रू.
The yogi then meditates upon the beautiful face of the Lord, which is adorned with curly hair and decorated by lotus-like eyes and dancing eyebrows. A lotus surrounded by swarming bees and a pair of swimming fish would be put to shame by its elegance.
So what is the meaning of Ali? Ali वो वाला Ali नहीं, Ali मतलब
Bees.
the bees are also called Ali. So there is one devotee, Ali Krishna. नाम Prabhupada, Ali Krishna. So Ali means the bees. The bees are always around the lotus face of the Lord. So the face is like a lotus. So the bees, they mistake the face to be a lotus, and they are always hovering around. Sriniketam alivi parisebhyamanam, and the lotus face is covered with the curly hair. Kutil kuntalam shrimukham chate yada udikshatam pakshma kritrisham. उसमें आता है कुटिल कुंतल. And they are decorated with Meena Dvayashrayam. The eyes of the Lord are compared with fish. Meena. That's why if somebody has big eyes, they are called as Meenakshi, big-eyed one. A lotus surrounded by the swarming bees and a pair of swimming fish would be put to shame by its elegance. इसमें भी अच्छा कमेंट देते हैं चक्रवर्ती ठाकुर. So one should meditate on the lotus face of the Lord, which is the abode of the beauty, Sriniketanam, which rivals a lotus served by the bees and accompanied by 2 fish. So which are the bees and which are the fishes? यहाँ पे क्या है? Fish क्या है और bees क्या है?
Fish on eyes.
The 2 eyes are the 2 fishes, and the bees are the curly locks of hair. So his eyebrows dance because they are indicating mercy to his devotees. So Srila Prabhupada writes, the important statement here is Dhyayen Manomayam. Manomayam is not imagination. Again, Prabhupada focuses on that. One cannot carve the form of the Lord which he imagines. One should meditate on that form which is mentioned in the scriptures. Next verse. Tasyavalokam kripayati ghora tapatrayopashamanaya nisrishtamakshnoh snigdhasmithanugunitam vipula prasadam yaye chiram vipula bhavanaya guhaya.
The yogis should contemplate with full devotion the compassionate glances frequently cast by the Lord's eyes, for they through the most fearful threefold agonies of his devotees. His glances, accompanied by a loving smile, are full of abundant grace.
Tasya avalokam, the glance of the Lord is ati kripayati akripaya ati ghora. The Lord's glance is full of compassion. It is not just thoda bahut compassion, full of compassion. And when the glance of the Lord falls on the devotee, what happens? Tapatraya upashamanaya, extinguishes the threefold miseries of the material world. That means the miseries may continue to exist, but a devotee doesn't suffer and become miserable because of that. And then the Lord has this beautiful smile. First the glance and the smile. Where all places the Lord smiles in reciprocation?
Kunti Maharani decides.
Okay, Kunti Maharani boli the war.
And when he enters Dwaraka,
When he enters Dwarka, all the residents, they are offering beautiful itna sara bol rahe hain, Lord just smiles. That is sufficient. So the Lord's smile is sufficient to pacify. So many times the Prabhupada disciples also tell that, they tell that Prabhupada's smile was sufficient remuneration. Prabhupada's smile, that is success. That is sufficient for us. Utna bas ho gaya. Kuch bhi karenge uske liye. So devotee should meditate for a long time on the smile of the Lord, on the glance of the Lord. Smile is a reciprocation. The smile of the Lord is glorified. Kaviraj Goswami says, Krishna ji ni padmachan pate ache mukhan tate adhar madhu smitachar ब्रजनारी आसी आसी फांदे पड़े हुए दासी छाड़ी लाजपति घर द्वार. Krishna has spread the news of his beauty. Krishna, after conquering the beauty of the lotus and the moon, now he has spread the news of his beauty. पाती आचे मुख फांद, और उसमें बेट क्या लगाया है? बेट लगाना पड़ेगा ना. चाल बिछाया तो उसमें क्या लगाना पड़ेगा? ताते अधर मधु स्मित चार. So the smile on the face of the Lord is like the bait. And all the brajanaris, all the gopis, they come and they get caught in this net. Okay, so then, this is a very beautiful, very important verse. 32nd. Okay, Prabhupada writes in the purport of this 31st verse. The Lord bestows innumerable favors upon his devotee, and the greatest manifestation of his grace is his smiling face, which is full of compassion. And then one should meditate on the smile of the Lord and the eyebrows of the Lord. The eyebrows of the Lord are like the bows from which the arrow comes. This arrow can destroy the arrows of the Cupid. Ha samhare ravanata khila loka tivra shokashru sagara vishoshanamatyudaram sammohanaya rachitam nijamaya yasya Mandalam Munikrite Makara Dvajasya.
A yogi should similarly meditate on the most benevolent smile of the Lord, Sri Hari, a smile which, for all those who bow to him, drives away the ocean of tears caused by intense grief. The yogi should also meditate on the Lord's arched eyebrows, which are manifested by his internal potency in order to charm the sex god of the good of the sages.
So it is said that in millions of lives we have cried so much that it has created an ocean of tears. शोक अश्रु सागर हो गया है. We have cried so much, we have lamented so much. This sagar can be dried up just by a smile of the Lord. Shok Ashru Sagara Vishoshanam Ati Udaram. The Lord's smile is most compassionate, generous smile. Hasam Harir. Akhila Loka Tivra. So everyone in this world is suffering. Tivra Shok Ashru Sagar. So therefore one should meditate on the smile of the Lord. And then the eyebrows of the Lord, they are specially manifested by his internal potency. Nijmaya Yasya. Why? To bewilder Cupid. Sammohanaya Makaradhvaja. Makaradhvaja is Cupid. The Cupid has a flag of Makara, of crocodile. So that's how a devotee should meditate on the eyebrows of the Lord. And then one should meditate on the smile of the Lord even more. Okay, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes something. One should meditate on the Lord's generous smile, which completely dries up the intense ocean of the tears of grief caused by devotees in all, by separation in all the devotees. So he's taking to the next level. Sometimes the devotees in Dasya, Sakhya, and other bhav, they are in separation. Krishna nahi aa rahe. They are also pacified when Lord appears in front of them, smiles at them. Or, then he says, smile dries up the ocean of tears caused by material suffering, increases the ocean of bliss in prema. Okay, now next verse. Dhyanayanam prahasitam bahuladharoshtha bhasarunayita tanudvijakunda pankti ध्याये स्वदेह कुहरे वसितस्य विष्णो भक्त्यार्द्रयार्पितमना न पृथक् दिदृक्षेत्.
With devotion steeped in love and affection, within the core of his heart upon the laughter of Lord Vishnu. The laughter of Vishnu is so captivating that it can be easily meditated upon. When the Supreme Lord is laughing, one can see his small teeth, which resemble jasmine buds, rendered rosy by the splendor of his lips. Once devoting his mind to this, the yogi should no longer desire to see anything else.
Yeah. So meditate on the Adhara and Oshtha. Adhara means the lower lip, Oshtha means the upper lip. So very minutely one should meditate on everything. Adhara also, Oshtha also. अपने को तो दूर से अधर ओष्ठ पर उस पे मेडिटेट करना है. Adhara and Oshtha. Meditate on the smile of the Lord, laughter of the Lord. When the Lord laughs, the teeth are visible. Meditate, imagine that. Meditate that the Lord is showing his beautiful teeth, which are like the row of jasmine buds. Tanu Dvijakunda Pankti. And one should not desire to see anything else. Na Prathak Didrikshet. That is the meditation of the Lord's form. One should not desire to see anything else. Otherwise, when we want to see the things of the world, we get absorbed in that. And why we are still attracted to things of the world? Because we are not attracted to the form of the Lord yet. So a devotee, the more one meditates on the form of the Lord, the more the attraction for the things of and beautiful things of the world will go away. But इतना सब meditation होने के बाद, you know what happens? In next verses, he describes, Kapaladev describes the unfortunate situation of a yogi. Although he takes darshan of the Lord with all these beautiful features, but he gives up that form to attain liberation. That is the unfortunate condition of a yogi. So Chakravarti Thakur writes, the foolish yogi who, receiving great mercy and experiencing the sweetness of meditation on the Lord's pastimes, rejects it because he is not fixed in that taste. Chakravarti Thakur writes in the next verse for commentary. And is considered low class among the yogis. He is cheated of bhakti rasa. He is not having that taste, so he is cheated. एवं हरौ भगवती प्रतिलब्ध भावो
एवं हरो भगवती
एवं भरो भगवती प्रतिलब्ध भावो
प्रमोदात्
मत्या ध्रुव ध्रुव
औत्कण्ठ्य
तत्व
बाष्पकलयमोरार्द्यमानः
औकन्तय वासप कलय मोहन
कबडिशं शनकैर्विमुक्ते
स्थापितव सनकै
It will read in the sequence. Yeah. By following this course, the yogi gradually develops pure love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the course of his progress in devotional service, the airs of his body stand to excessive joy, and he is constantly bathed in a stream of tears occasioned by intense love. Gradually, even the mind, which he used as a means to attract the Lord, as one attracts a fish to a hook, withdraw from material activity.
So in the previous verse commentary, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes something. Without effort, spontaneously, this becomes the object of meditation for this devotee. But for this yogi, Dhyanayanam Prahasitam, in that verse, he says, one should not desire to see anything else in one's heart except Vishnu. One should not desire to know anything else, since nothing is greater than this. This bewilderment through tasting bliss is the highest samadhi for devotees. The third anga of the ninefold bhakti, consisting of meditation, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Smarana, has been described in the present context of Ashtanga Yoga to attract the great yogis and drown them in the ocean of Bhakti Rasa. इतना सब अच्छे से description है so that they can absorb, they can become devotee. And that's what happened when Shukadeva Goswami was hearing the wonderful descriptions. He heard two verses, one describing the beauty of the Lord, other describing the mercy of the Lord. Which verse was describing the beauty of the Lord? Barha Pidam Natavaro. And which verse described the mercy of the Lord? Aho Bakiyam, the delivering of Putana. So Chakravarti Thakur quotes that. I was fixed in Brahman, but when I heard the pastimes of the Lord, I became devotee. Parinishthitopi Nairgunya. I was absorbed in Nirguna, Nairgunya. But Uttama Shloka Leelaya, when I heard the form, the pastimes of the Lord, Grihita Cheta, my mind was absorbed, attracted to that. But bichara, unfortunately, yogi, uska kya hota hai? Although he is taking darshan of the Lord, evam harau bhagavati pratilabdha bhava. He has developed a bhava. He has developed ecstatic symptoms. Bhaktya dravadridaya. His heart has become soft. Utpulka pramoda. His hairs are standing on end in ecstasy. And Autkantya, Bashpa, Kalaya, all the symptoms are manifesting. But what he does? Shanakair Vyunkte. Gradually he withdraws. Why gradually? Because it is not so easy to withdraw the mind from the form of the Lord. But mushkil se wo bichara alag karta hai. I don't want to get attracted. I want Brahman.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, I think you have a question. Yeah.
Yeah. Prabhuji, the point here comes is about desire and abhilasha. So the devotees, the desires will be like his abhilasha is getting the mukti. That's why, although his desire may get changed in between, like he has seen the form of the Lord, but because of his abhilasha is fixed upon getting the mukti, probably he wanted to achieve that. Is that correct understanding? or because after seeing such a beautiful form also, uh, he doesn't get attracted to the personal form features, like how Sukadeva Goswami is described, that how he got attracted. But the yogis were not getting attracted because they don't even desire to have that form. Their abhilasha is fixed up to mukti. So when we say
You
that
know
the
why
devotee don't
Sukadeva
have a
Goswami
desire,
became? Yeah. So why Sukadeva Goswami became devotee? Because he heard from a devotee.
uh, uh,
In the second canto,
mm,
also in the third chapter, I think the second chapter, it is described that those who are worshippers of devtas, he says, nobody automatically becomes a devotee. If somebody is worshipping devtas throughout the life, it is not that at the end of the life they'll become devotees automatically of Krishna. No, it happens only when they associate with devotees. So these yogis, only if they get association of devotees, then they become devotees. Because bhaktya
that
sanjayate bhakti.
mm,
Otherwise, the desire for liberation is very powerful, very strong. By the mercy of Prabhupada, we are saved from this liberation.
mm,
Otherwise, it is not so easy to escape this desire for liberation.
mm.
We give all the bad words to liberation because we have heard from devotees, Kaivalyam narakayate. It is like a hell. हमको कुछ भी मालूम नहीं है ब्रह्मानंद क्या होता है. ब्रह्मानंद इज मिलियंस टाइम्स ग्रेटर देन जड़ानंद. और हम ब्रह्मानंद को तो ऐसे गाली देते हैं जैसे इन हेलिश है. अरे हेलिश है, दैट इज द मर्सी ऑफ द डिवोटीज दैट वी आर नॉट इवन कंसिडरिंग दैट ऑप्शन. Srila Prabhupada always, de-glamorized liberation. Because otherwise, liberation is a very, very attractive thing.
Liberation same as moksha.
Why moksha? Liberation means impersonal liberation, not personal liberation. So impersonal liberation is very attractive. That's why these people, yogis, they can't take away the mind from liberation. Only when they get association of devotees, then they become devotee. Then they develop attraction for the personal form. And in these unfortunate yogis, this attraction doesn't arise. That's why they give up. They gradually, with great effort, take away the mind from that form.
I have a doubt, can you ask?
Yeah.
The liberation is moksha. Liberation is moksha.
Mm.
But moksha is only popularized by Mayavadis and Brahmavadis, not by Vaishnavas.
Yeah.
But in Sri Sampradaya, there is a ceremony like what they call like Nammalvar, he goes and asks Perumal for liberation, moksha. He goes and but Perumal doesn't because he wants to hear the songs from him. Like that, there is a thing. So how do we end that?
That moksha may be personal liberation, right?
I don't know.
Yeah. Because Sri Vaishnavas, their liberation is Vaikuntha. They are not into impersonal.
Perumal to give the liberation. Is that the-
They're personal liberation because they will never ask for impersonal liberation.
So moksha is generally.
Moksha is a general term. It's like personal liberation or impersonal liberation. So generally, moksha is, the connotation of the word moksha is impersonal. So that's merge with Brahman. But generally, moksha means getting liberated from the world. So liberate होके किधर जाएंगे, ब्रह्मन में जाएंगे कि भगवान के पास जाएंगे, that is different. That depends on the abhideya. What abhideya you practice, depending on that, the prayojan will get. We are practicing this Jnana Marg, Ashtanga will go to Brahman. But Bhakti Marg will go to Bhagwan. So our abhideya decides our prayojan.
So, Prabhuji,
So-
that's why devotees association is very crucial because they can change our abhilashas.
Yeah, yes. So I think in that, somebody can find out वो उसमें वो बोलते हैं devotee से only if devotee association this person gets, then only they will become devotee, not अपने आप नहीं बनेंगे वो.
Correct.
वो उसमें I'll find out that.
Yeah,
उसमें
and
अच्छा
Mahaprabhu also came in the form of devotee.
Sorry?
Mahaprabhu also came in the form of devotee. That's why he changed the free will of the devotees who are associated with him.
Yes.
Although Krishna, but he came in the form of a devotee.
Yes, this is 1:3:11. After description of all the, ये चाहिए तो इनकी पूजा करो, ये चाहिए उनकी पूजा करो, इतना डिटेल में डिस्क्रिप्शन है. And then he says, एतावानेव यजताम इह निःश्रेयसोदयः भगवती अचलो भावो यत भागवत संगतः. Only by association of devotees, these demigod worshippers will become devotees. अपने आप नहीं होगा. So just by worshipping, just by meditating on Brahman or Paramatma with a desire for Brahman, they'll not become devotee in the end. Shanakaya Vimukti ho raha hai, that's the problem. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes a huge purport here, huge commentary here. He says, the foolish yogi who, receiving great mercy and experiencing the sweetness of meditation, the Lord's pastimes, rejects it because he is not fixed in that taste. He is cheated by the bhakti rasa. And then he writes, by bhakti alone, he attains liberation with realization of pratyagatma. Pratyagatma means realization of the personal God, individual soul, while destroying 21 types of suffering. I'm not sure about that. What is the 21 types of suffering? And then he says, next paragraph, this yogi has attained bhava. He is actually in ecstasy. All the symptoms are manifesting. उत्कंठ्य बाष्प कलया मुहूर्द्यमाना, बट फिर भी वो छोड़ देता है बेचारा. Pratilabdha, besides meaning to attain, suggests that he receives but does not respond appropriately. And then after a few lines, Prabhupada, he writes, it is said that one should give up jnana to attain liberation. In after the process is achieved, karmis, they give up the abhidheya. What is the abhidheya for a karmi? Do yajna. After going to heaven, they don't do yajna. They don't continue to do. After achieving Brahman, the jnanis, they don't continue the practice of jnana. But the bhakta, the process remains the same. What will you get by chanting Hare Krishna? More chanting Hare Krishna. What will you get by seva? More seva. So Chakravarti Thakur writes, there is no rule to give up bhakti to attain liberation. On the contrary, it is forbidden to give up bhakti. How can you give up bhakti? Bhakti chhod diya matlab gadbad hai. For it has been said in the previous verse, one should not desire to see anything except the Vishnu. The last verse says, Na prithak didrikshet. The yogi, he gives up that form only by his own foolish decision. You know what he does? He says, because his heart is like a hook, he gives up that sweet form. That means the heart, which was inundated with the sweetness of the Lord, that begins to negate that eagerness for sweetness of the Lord. So the heart was full of sweetness. He is seeing the beautiful form of the Lord, but because he is absorbed in Brahman, he very gradually, just like his heart becomes a hook and takes the mind away from the form of the Lord. He says, "Itna aasan nahi hai." He can withdraw only by repeated efforts, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 7, 8 times. इतना मेहनत लगता है. It is not so easy. Our problem is ulta, अपना जाता ही नहीं है. But a person who has seen the form of the Lord, it is not so easy to take the mind away from the form of the Lord. Okay.
Any examples? If you look at the examples like Guru Maharaj, Narad Muni, for the sake when he went to the forest and all, they hankered.
Because they were devotees, they were practicing a path of bhakti. They were guided by devotees. Unless one is guided by a devotee, it is not so easy to get attracted to bhakti. That is our fortune. Although we are not so attracted to bhakti, but at least we are not attracted to mukti. We have heard all the wrong things. Mukti, mukti, siddhikami, sakali, ashant. So all this is, mercy of Prabhupada. He has really, deglamorized the process of liberation. Otherwise, it is not so easy. That's why मायावादी भाष्य सुनिले होए सर्वनाश क्यों बोलते हैं? Once the mind is absorbed in Mayavad, not so easy to bring it back. And in fact, our acharyas, they say that after going to Brahman, nobody comes back here. It is not that they come back here. Why Srila Prabhupada said they come back? Aruhya krichrena param padam tata patanti ada. Prabhupada always said that, right? All those yogi, those who are jnanis, they achieve Brahman, they fall down again and they do all the philanthropic work. Why Prabhupada said that? So this verse tells about the person who is still there in this world, the yogi who is practicing jnana in this world. They have become liberated, but they have not still entered Brahman. But sometimes because they have not experienced the sweetness of the lotus feet of the Lord, they again get into all these philanthropic things. But Srila Prabhupada, he always told one falls down. Prabhupada just made it one step more. कि भाई इधर से गिरो उधर से गिरो बात तो एक ही है. Don't get attracted to Brahman because Brahman is not such a wonderful thing when it is compared to Bhakti. Bhakti is unlimited times greater than Brahmananda. Kaivalyam, Sandrananda Visheshatma. We have heard this Sandrananda Visheshatma. Okay, so now after this, Prabhupada Chakravarti Thakur writes a huge purport. Will not go into that. Somebody can read the translation of the next verse. We'll read only the translation. 35th verse.
When the mind is thus completely free from all material contamination and detached from material objectives, it is just like the flame of the lamp. At that time, the mind is actually limited with that of the Supreme Lord and is experienced as one with Him because it is free from the interactive flow of material qualities.
So now, what is the condition of a yogi's mind which gives up the form of the Lord? When this mind becomes detached from all the material objects, completely freed from the material contamination, detached from all the material objectives, it becomes like a flame of a lamp. And at that time, the mind is also destroyed. The subtle mind is destroyed of the yogi. He destroys all the contaminations, all the coverings of the subtle body, and then he is actually situated in his own transcendental situation. He sees himself as Atma. So Srila Prabhupada writes, in the material world, the activities of the mind are acceptance and rejection. As soon as the mind is in material consciousness, it must be forcibly trained to accept the meditation on the form of the Lord. But when it's actually liberated, elevated, the mind is automatically absorbed. This dovetailing of the mind with the desires of the Supreme Lord is called nirvana. So this nirvana is a very, very common word. Nirvana, actual nirvana means what? When the mind is always engaged in fulfilling the desires of the Lord. That is real desirelessness. Real desirelessness means when the mind is always focused on the form of the Lord, always focused on fulfilling the desires of the Lord. That is real desirelessness. And that's how one becomes freed from all the material contamination. And then Prabhupada says the best example of nirvana was Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita. He was doing Karishye Vachanam Tava. That is real nirvana. And then Prabhupada focuses on this word Yatha Archi, just like the mind becomes like a flame of the lamp. When the lamp is broken or the oil is finished, the flame goes out. According to the scientific understanding, the flame is not extinguished, it is conserved. This is conservation of energy. Similarly, when the mind stops functioning on the material platform, it is conserved in the activities of the Supreme Lord. So material mind stops and the spiritual mind starts working. Jarayatiyashu yakosham nigirinam analoyatha. When the material things stop working, the devotee spiritualizes his material mind and senses. It is not that material mind is not there. No, material mind is now working as a spiritual object. And then in the next verse he says, the translation.
Thus situated in the highest transcendental state, the mind ceases from all material reaction and becomes situated in its own glory, transcendental to all material conceptions of happiness and distress. At that time, the yogi realizes the truth of his relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He discovers that pleasure and pain, as well as their interactions, which he attributed to his own self, are actually due to the false ego, which is a product of ignorance.
So he becomes situated in his own original position. What is the actual position of the living entity? What is own position? Krishnera Nityadas. This word, Tasmin Mahimni Avasthitaha. This word has come 2-3 times in Bhagavatam, Mahima. Swe Mahimni Sthitascha. When the soul is situated in his original glory. So that is the actual Mahima, actual glory of the soul, to be situated in the service of the Lord. So here the glory of the soul is to cross all these conceptions of the body and the mind and to be situated in the situation that I am not this body, I am soul. That is a glory for a jnani, a liberated soul. So Prabhupada writes in the purport about this forgetfulness of the living entity is a product of ignorance, and one's actual relationship is eternally that of love. But because we are trying to love people of the world, developing relation with them, that's why the ignorance increases. Forgetfulness of the relation with the Supreme Lord is ignorance. And in ignorance, one is impelled by the 3 modes, and one thinks himself the enjoyer. So that is the same thing which Prabhupada is writing here. And then 37th and 38th, these 2 verses describes the state of a Jivan Mukta. Translation.
Because he has achieved his real identity, the perfectly realized soul has no conception of how the material body is moving or acting, just as an intoxicated person cannot understand whether or not he has clothing on his body.
Yeah. So a liberated soul does not understand whether he has a material body or not. He is a self-realized Jivan Mukta. Which verse in Nectar of Devotion says this? Jivan Mukta. कैसे आता है वो शुरू कैसे होता है? How a devotee becomes Jivan Mukta? Iha yasya haredasya karmana manasa gira nikhilashrava avastasu Jivan Mukta. So in all the situations of life, when a devotee with his karmana, manasa and gira, with his mind, body and words, engaging in service of the Lord, that is called as state of Jivan Mukti. Yes, translation, next verse.
The body of such a liberated yogi, along with the senses, is taken charge of by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and its function until its judgment activity terminates. The liberated devotee, being awake to his constitutional position, and thus situated in Samadhi, the highest perfectional stage of yoga, does not accept the byproducts of the material body as his own. Thus, he considers his bodily activities to be like the activities of a body in a dream.
So this person no more enjoys any relationship with the body. He sees this body like a body in the dream. In the dream, a person may get a different body, may become a very, very successful businessman, but that businessman has nothing to do with him. He has to leave the body as soon as one gets up. So that's how a liberated soul sees, oh, this is a body which I have got in this world, and I have nothing to do with this body. Prabhupada gives an example. The following questions may be posed. Here is some questions. As long as the liberated soul is in contact with the body, why don't the bodily activities affect him? Liberated soul is in the body. The bodily activities should affect him. doesn't he actually become contaminated by the actions and reactions of material activities? Still in this material body. The answer says the material body is taken charge by the Supreme Personality of the Godhead. When Sanatana Goswami he wanted to jump under the Jagannath cart, he was thinking, Arey, what is the use of this body? Mahaprabhu says, यही तुम्हारा शरीर मोर प्रधान साधन यही शरीर साधीमु मोई बहु प्रयोजन. This is not your body, this is my property. With this body, I am going to fulfill so many of my desires. So the body of a liberated soul is taken charge by the Supreme Lord. It is not the property of that person. It is not acting due to the living force of the living entity. It is simply acting as a reaction to past activities. That's all. Example Prabhupada gives. Even if the fan is switched off, the fan moves for some time. That movement is not due to electric current, but due to continuation of last movement. Although similarly a liberated soul appears to be acting like an ordinary man, his actions are to be accepted as a continuation of past activities. So one should not feel that ये तो liberated soul भी वही कर रहे हैं जो मैं कर रहा हूँ. He is also eating, I am also eating. He is also sleeping, I am also sleeping. Maybe I am also liberated. Or maybe he is a common person. Yeah, these are the two things. Either we bring him down to our level or elevate ourselves to his level. ये भी वही कर रहा है, मैं भी वही कर रहा हूँ. So that is the difference. Although a liberated soul has the byproducts of the body, children, wife, house, he does not identify himself with those bodily expansions. He knows that they are the products of the material dream. That is a liberated soul. Okay, next verse, translation.
Because of great affection for family and wealth, one accepts a son and some money as his own. And due to affection for the material body, one thinks that it is his. But actually, as one can understand that his family and wealth are different from him, the liberated soul can understand that he and his body are not the same.
So now in this last section, Kapildev describes a person who desires liberation should cultivate this process. What process? He should understand that nothing belongs to me. That my body, my family, my wealth, they are different. And they are just the manifestations of, this material nature. So that's how a liberated soul always thinks. Next verse, translation.
The blazing fire is different from the flames, from the sparks and from the smoke, although all are intimately connected because they are born from the same blazing wood.
Yeah. So Vishwanath Thakur writes a huge purport here. He says, though the father can be perceived to be different from the son and wealth, since they are separately situated, the same does not apply to the jiva and his body and the senses. And how can the Paramatma be understood to be different from the jiva? Though not situated separately, the jiva is different from the products of Maya and Paramatma is different from jiva. So to explain all these principles, an example is given. How Paramatma is different from the Lord, from the living entity, and how the living entity is different from the products of the material nature. He says the blazing fire is different from the flames and sparks and the smoke. So all the manifestations of the fire, they are different from the fire. Similarly, the manifestations of this material world, they are different than Jiva and different than Paramatma. So that is the example which is given here. And then he describes, next verse. We'll not go into the details, some technical things are there. We'll just read it.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is known as Param Brahma, is the CEO. He is different from the Jiva soul or individual living entity, who is combined with the senses, the five elements and consciousness.
Next.
A yogi should see the same soul in all manifestations, for all that exists is a manifestation of different energies of the Supreme.
In this way, the devotee should see all living entities without distinction. That is realization of the supreme soul.
Next.
As far as different forms of under different conditions of the moods of material nature, the pure spirit will manifest itself in different bodies.
So basically, depending on the size and shape of different wood, the fire is different. Similarly, the body appears different, or the pure spirit soul is the same. Yeah, next verse, last verse.
The yogi can be in the self-realized position after conquering the insurmountable spell of the Maya, who presents herself as both the cause and effect of his material manifestation, and is therefore very difficult to understand.
Yes. So in this way, a Ashtanga yogi achieves liberation. He is situated, although he is still in this world, but because his mind is dissolved, Jarayati Ashvya Kosham Nigirnam, all this material mind, material body is not affecting him. He is situated in his spiritual position. So that's how he is self-realized. So that's how the Kapila Dev has described to his mother the principles of Ashtanga Yoga. And then in the next chapter, he'll describe the principles of devotional service in more detail. Okay, so we'll stop here. An exam today, right? So I'll put the exam paper. Hare Krishna, Shri Prabhupada ki Jai, Srimad Bhagvatam ki Jai.